Today I'm going to paint a cardinal. From a picture that I took last winter, I believe it was. I'm going to start with black and white to do the background because the background is mostly going to be gray tones. This is a winter photo, and it's a winter photograph. So we're going to make the sky behind a tree kind of stormy and gray. You start out with one color of gray. I mix a little black in it as I go. Till we get all the canvas covered. I move pretty fast because acrylic dries really fast. If you get too much dark, too much black on it or something, you just add some white back in it. Blend, blend, blend. And you go all the way across, like that. Now this is woods behind this, but I'm just making a sky behind it because I want the branch to really stand out. I'm going to go lighter over towards the edge. And I just blend lightly. After I get it covered with paint, I just keep blending lightly. Keep adding some white over here. I want it to be really light. Like the sky. To me, January, the only color we see. Christmas is over. We're kind of blah after all the shopping and spending and partying and eating and everything, and we're ready to have a little bit of a quieter month in January. And January can be kind of dreary because of all the rain in most places of the world if you have winter during January. Or it could be July or August that you have your winter month if you live in the lower hemisphere. And I like to add a little color into January so it's not quite so blah. You see where I've blended that now? I've made it darker right there in the middle, towards the middle. I'm also going to make it a little darker down here along the side. Not too dark because I want my branch to stand out, but just to give it some depth, some variety. And if you paint like I paint, just because it's where I want to go today. Okay, maybe a little darker up in here. This is almost a monochromatic painting because it's going to be mostly grays. The bird kind of destroys that, but I think it's a nice little touch. I think cardinals remind us that spring will come. And you just blend it till you're pleased with the way it looks. And then we go to the next step. This next step is going to be to add your branches. I'm going to make a dark gray first, kind of a middle gray. This is for the main. This is going to be, there's going to be two branches because I don't want it to just be one branch out there floating. So I'm going to put like a branch or tree in the background. Come straight down here. And it kind of goes all the way down. And it's kind of blurred because it's in the background, so I'm going to keep it kind of subtle. And I'm not going to work it a whole lot. I just want it to look like, yes, there are more trees in the background. I pick up a little gray. I very seldom rinse my brush when I'm working in colors like this. If it gets too gunked up with paint, you can always wipe out a little paint, but I very seldom. And then I'm going to pick up a little black because it's a little darker at the top. Make a branch out like this. Okay, and that's one branch. That's a tree. That's a small tree behind everything. Okay. When you're satisfied with it, then we're going to add the main branch, and this is the branch with the little birdie on. Start at the top. To make my picture, I just quickly outline it. It's very bent right there. This one's going to be more pronounced because it's in the foreground of the photograph. And then because you don't want everything to balance in your picture, you want it to, it's just like taking a photograph. There's something called the rule of thirds where you divide your photo or your frame into thirds, and you don't want anything centered right in the middle because it's not as interesting that way. Another way of putting it is asymmetry. You want it to be off balance, a little off balance, a little, because in nature, that's part of nature really. So I'm going to come up about a third of the way and put this little branch here that this little birdie's going to sit on. See, I'm about 2/3 down towards the bottom third of the picture. Actually, there's shadow on the bottom of the lamb. We don't have shadow on the top, so we're going to go back across the top with some white. Make it a little bit lighter. I'll wipe some paint out so I can pick up a little bit more white. Just a little bit brighter. No, that's not snow, that's just white, so we're going to blend that in a little bit. And the light hits over here a little bit, so I'll pick up a little bit more white. Add some white up in here. It's very interesting. The whole thing about this is subtlety to me. Now I'm going to come back in here on the bottom and make it dark. Don't want to get a big old streak of black like that because guess what? We're going to blend it towards the top. Dark right there. of dark right there. And I know you have trouble hearing me because I talk low when I'm painting. I tend to talk to myself. Okay. Now we're going to let it get tacky, so we're going to wait a few minutes and then we're going to add smaller branches in. Okay, time to paint this. Let me get this a little bit better. You know, I'm no professional at this. This is just me trying to share my art. Okay, that looks about right. Now it's time to do those little branches. You just take a small brush, and you start twigging them out. And it comes down right here. It goes all over the world. That time they use a smaller brush. This one goes all over the world down here. Now you have to go with a little bit smaller brush. Okay, I'm going to go with a smaller flat brush. Didn't like the way that round brush was handling. And it's just personal preference, whatever you prefer. And you just draw that branch out there. This one has twigs coming back off of it. And you just twig that little puppy right on out there. One thing you don't want to do is make it totally even, because no tree's even. The branches are not even. So you're going to twig it and let my brush just kind of bounce along. And I'm going to pick up some white. Go back and pick up a little bit lighter gray and add that in.